Hello everybody, welcome back as ever to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera and watch they inevitably explode, because this is Minecraft coding, so of course they will. I've had a week. So, I was working on crabs late one night, and that was more or less the last you saw of me. And since then, I was mostly working on factions and reputation, and then out of the blue, as long as the crabs were registered for rendering, the whole game would crash the second we tried to render anything, basically. And what was weird was it wasn't always the same things. So, the whole, all 10 actual entities that we had would get registered. But only, 3 of them would actually make it into the entity rendering registry. So, the game would crash erratically, and it would feel like the changes I was making would have some effect or none ever, or would only work once, that sort of thing. So there was a decent chunk of the past week where it seemed basically impossible for me to actually keep updating this mod. Partially because I couldn't test anything, and partially because I couldn't run anything to actually, export anyways. But I passed it on to Noob, who I think occasionally ends up in the chats. They couldn't find anything, so they suggested I hand it to the Forge devs, so I did. Another dev there took a lot of looks at it and eventually figured out what the problem was, but initially was perplexed as I was. The lead dev of Mechanism also had no clue what was going on. And one of the, founding devs of Forge poked his head in at one point, just to be very unhelpful anyways, and nobody could figure out what it was. Chat, do you want to know what it was that all of these people, myself included, completely overlooked? Do you want to know what has kept this mod running for 4 days? Anyone? Can you guess? Does anyone have the slightest inkling of what it was that every single one of us missed because it doesn't actually cause a crash log at all? Because it doesn't actually register an error in the log for Forge whatsoever. The answer is the mod prefix got added twice in these texture directories. So instead of varrod semicolon textures entity crab, it was varrod semicolon varrod semicolon textures entity crab, by sheer cloning text typo. That one typo caused the entire thing to break, because it doesn't actually stop anything. It just breaks when you try to actually render somebody. So that apparently is a thing that Forge doesn't handle for. Bizarrely. So, the last thing that I must have touched before I worked on factions was to add multiple textures for crabs. And evidently I didn't test that at any point, so I just moved on to factions. And then everything broke for most of a week. And 4 people looking over it had no clue why. 4 people looking over it, 5 popping in to say explain better. But still, just oi. So that's eaten a lot of my time over the past week. I wanted to get more video work done, but there was also a crash bug that was in the release version relating to goblins and their group AI that I had to make sure got fixed, because we were hoping to push out the Cumberlock Home mod pack fairly soon, and it would really suck if that got pushed out with something that could crash an entire server because a goblin that's targeting you walked into a bush. So it's a relatively niche crash, because they have to be targeting something in order to have a group, and then they have to take a source damage that has no origin. So yeah. But we're back. We're fine. I think I can open testing 0. It shouldn't have any dribbles. I haven't touched it since I got to this point, so who knows. Looks fine so far, okay. Oh, good. Oh, grand. Okay, and there's our crabs, right over there. Ah, hi. And for another 18 days, our foxes are gonna look all cute and spivvy. But okay, we have the crabs still. Let's just spawn a few. Let's make them small ones, just for space. So they don't have their scuttling, they don't have their big or small claws, that kind of thing, but they do have their barnacles and they do have their colors. I had somebody in the comments on the mod page ask if I would consider changing their color scheme so that they're less neon, which, fair play, they are quite neon, but honestly, I think this kind of works. Like, let me just spawn a creeper here. Creeper, and no AI, please, kindly. Like, it's not honestly that more gaudy than the creepers themselves. So, I think it's fine. I think their color scheme is fine, personally. And I think it fits with the overall rest of the mod, and I think they work decently well with everybody else here. That comment was in specific reference to the scorpions, which are a very similar color tone, but it's fine. So yeah, there hasn't been much development, otherwise that. What I have been working on, as I mentioned earlier, is factions. So, there are currently 2 major faction mobs in various oddities. There is the goblins and there is the kobolds. The kobolds are currently persistent, whereas the goblins aren't, because they're currently just a randomly encountered hostile mob. That will be changing. There was a goblin over here. There wasn't there? I remember there being a goblin over here. Okay then. Do I have a? I believe I do, right here. Okay, let's get a goblin in, shall we? Yeah. Okay. As I understand, these fellows have been menacing Dave quite recently. So, with faction mobs, you have a faction object in the config file. It then determines what your initial starting reputation is, i.e. more or less how they approach other people, randomly new players that they've just encountered, that sort of thing. And it also has a list of associations. So each faction has a particular view towards a different faction, and that determines how members of that faction approach members of that faction. This means that currently, in the default config, the Kobold faction, these guys, and the Goblin faction, those guys, have a mutual -100 relation with each other. Which means that they will approach each other with violent aggression. But if we were to go into the config files, if I just bring those up for us, there you are. If we were to go into here and change this to 0 or 100, that kind of thing, 100's easier, but either way, fewer clicks. They wouldn't actually have any problem with each other. They might even be helpful to each other, that sort of thing. So it allows you to actually pre-program how different mobs interact, provided that they're linked to different factions. Since then, I have also managed to create player data, once again, which is the thing that says what your relationship is with, these factions and such, so your actual reputation with them. I have also, in the course of that, added a value which did not exist in 1.12, which is you can have a faction, which means that you can join a faction or be part of a different faction, that kind of thing, and we can then actually tie that faction with how, if somebody attacks you, it affects their standing with your faction and whatnot. Currently, I haven't made it that if you, if a member of one faction attacks a member of a different faction, if that affects their faction relation. Largely because if I do that, it's very difficult for me to say that, it should be only if players do it. So for instance, if one goblin picks a fight with one kobold whilst they're at, say, reputation 0, goblins worldwide and kobolds worldwide could quite swiftly get into a fight. Essentially a war would spark and you would have not the slightest clue why. Like, you couldn't just walk up to one of the survivors and say, hey, why did that just happen? Weren't you guys, like, trading happily yesterday? That sort of thing. And there's something to be said for a living world, but in terms of, like, video games, you want the player to be aware of what's going on, and ideally be able to actually have some direct input to avoid it, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I'm not currently standing for having interfaction relations change. That'll probably just be something in, like, the config and whatnot. Phew. So, once we've gotten that going, and we have gotten that going, as I've gone through the faction bus, I've made sure these events work. I am now, for instance, able to alter my standing with goblins by killing them. I am able to alter my standing with kobolds by being present when they are healed. It's a blurry thing that I had to figure out there. And these are all the ways that your reputation can ostensibly change. So, we have hurting them, we have killing them, we have protecting them, i.e. Attacking something that is attacking one of them. We have trading with them, which still needs some work because there's no actual event tied to trading, annoyingly. I have poked my head into the Forge Discord asking if anybody knows a way to do that, but I haven't gotten a major response to that. Then we also have the healing, and we have, finally, the commands, which comes from here. Now, this, I believe, was /reputation or /faction in 1.12, but we're changing it around a little bit, because now we have more variables to actually control. Instead of just being a string with a number attached to it, our factions now actually have values that we can change and interact with, and whatnot. And consequently, I'm probably going to be mostly just doing the reputation part here today, but we will then have another one of actually, like, managing a faction. So, for instance, then, new literal manage, I guess. Or edit. So we can then create a faction with a given name and a given initial starting reputation value, which is the two things you definitely need to have for a given faction. And that'll get stored inside of probably... I put out a Twitter like poll for this today, but I don't think it necessarily A, reached much of an audience, or B, was heavily understood. Probably in the world data. Which will then mean that when you boot in a world, the config default values will get read. Let's see where they are. Here they are. Yeah, the config default values will get read and then stored into world data, so that then becomes what gets changed by commands. That, I think, is the best way to go about it, because it will then mean that commands in one world don't affect the faction settings in other worlds. The downside is that if we do it that way, changes to the config will not affect any existing worlds. Which is a pity. I feel like changing the config should more or less always have some kind of effect. I guess we could theoretically put a boolean inside of the config saying overwrite existing, which then just gets set to false when it actually does so. That sort of thing. That's an option, I guess. There's an idea for us. But for the most part, it should be that you set your config, you start a world, those values are now in that world, and any commands you make in that world only affect that world's settings. That, I think, is the most succinct and stable and, like, best way to actually handle it. But for right now, all of our factions are just drawn from the config every time, so they don't change, that's fine. Factions shouldn't change very much. Reputation changes rapidly. Types, more or less, you set them at the start of your playthrough and they basically never change. I have maybe a slight plan for that to change at one point, but with a specific value, which is the extraplanar and the native types. Those are a question of whether or not you're on your home dimension. If you are a human, for instance, in the elemental plane of Earth, as an example, you are classed as being extraplanar. If you are a human on, like, the overworld, then you are classed as being native. It's where you're from, it's your home, and that, it mostly just affects outsiders for the most part. But it can affect other things. Like, there's I believe, Blaze. I think most things from other dimensions are actually classed as being extraplanar. So the Ender Dragon's extraplanar, the Enderman's extraplanar, the Endermite is extraplanar, Shulkers are extraplanar, Blaze are extraplanar, Magma Cubes, Strider, and Piglins are also extraplanar. Piglins are an example of an extraplanar humanoid, in fact, which is neat. I don't know if I mentioned it, but Arthropod doesn't exist anymore. Previously there was Arthropod, and there was Vermin. Vermin was for rats, Arthropod was for spiders, and the like. Now, basically, Arthropod and Vermin are the same thing. Because at least in D&D, giant spiders are vermin, and giant rats are also vermin. Everything is just vermin. So in the course of 116, bees, spiders, cave spiders, silverfish, endermites, rats, rat giants, scorpions, and scorpion giants, all vermin. Which essentially means that Bane of Arthropods is effectively a vermin bane, because it also affects them. Vermin and arthropods are synonymous, essentially, here. Whew. Okay. So, now that I've said all of that, would you like to know what we're going to get up to today? Because we're going to start with possibly one of the silliest things I've done in an age. Which should be straightforward, and hopefully won't cause any kind of crash. We'll see. Oh yes, as a bright side to the whole, like, crab renderer crashing everything bug, I actually got around to setting up a GitHub. So you can actually look at some of the most recent code changes on GitHub. If you can go to, like, the curse page, there's a link to source, hit that, you'll be able to find the source code for this mod. It is currently, like, copywritten, essentially, so kindly do not steal. But if you've watched this stream long enough, you know that I frequently reference other people to figure out how the hell to do something, in which case, yeah, you can reference stuff, try not to steal it, and if you do happen to have to steal it, then give me some credit at least. Anyways, today, we're going to program a crab rave. Because I feel like we maybe need something A, silly, and B, celebratory, after spending most of a week in crash hell. So there's already code for, let's see, is it party, is it dance? I don't know. Parrots entity, can we access that? Yes, we can, very good. There's so much going on here. Oh yes, because of imitation, of course. Let's see, panic, swim, look at, da-da-da-da-da. All of this would suggest that there's not actually a thing for... That's interesting. I didn't know that. Flying Path Navigator. Set can open doors. Set can enter doors. I'm mildly terrified at the concept of a flying entity that can open doors. That's just entertaining. Anyways. Party parrots. Okay, party parrot is what we're looking for. Set partying, is partying, that sort of thing. Okay, so if we grab is partying, is apparently referenced absolutely nowhere. Interesting. Where does set partying get called from then? Gets called from that. Okay, so why is partying not referenced anywhere? Is there a parrot model? There must be. But I can't see it. Joy. Okay. Pardon the pun, but this means we're going to be winging it. Oh boy. Okay, so abstract crab. Now, I think I'm going to make this by an AI thing that more or less only the small crabs have, or at the very least that there should be some qualification here. We're gonna have it be basically if they're near a jukebox that's playing, they'll start dancing. But if they happen to have an attack target, they'll stop dancing. Just because whilst I enjoy the notion of having giant crabs dancing, I would like it to not be a way to completely cheese them. Just like having an array of jukeboxes on your beach, for instance, and they're just fleeing up to it with a like record to make them dance and stop attacking you. Doesn't seem very like amenable to challenge. Seems like heavy cheese to me. Okay, so let's start by just creating ourselves a boolean that controls whether a given crab is currently actually dancing. I probably should be using booleans more often, but oh well, here we are. Now, for purposes of testing, we're just gonna make this default to true for the time being. And we're not even gonna store it, it'll just boot up as whatever. So public void set partying. Bloop. They might change it in the config. What? What do you mean? There we go. Okay. So that means we now have an internal value that just says, yes, we are party. Now, I believe basically everything is bound to the our carapace, our body here. The arms aren't, and I don't think the legs are, but let's... yeah, the legs aren't, so we're gonna have to work on those. But we're gonna set rotation angles outside of the claws and whatnot. There you are. So if entity in.isPartying, then we can set our body's rotation point to be off, and that will cause it to move around. Choosing the crabs bit, they might change it in the config to make sure they can choose them. That's true. We could add a config entry for it. Boolean value crab cheese might be a little confusing, but or maybe a crab stance, slave to the dance. Anyways, okay. So we have age in ticks, so we'll use that. So this dot body dot rotation point x equals math dot sign age in ticks over 100, just to be on the safe side. And turn that into a float. Okay. That will cause our crab's carapace to oscillate. So let's also make sure we have something that sets that back to 0, as nature intended. Okay, yep, good. We ideally don't want to change the Y rotation point, because that'll change them up and down, but there we go. So, okay. So now if we go in, we should see that all of our crabs are oscillating left and right. Should. It will only be at their carapace, it won't include their arms, won't include their legs, but it should be a start. I don't know how much of this I can make resemble actual crab rave, the meme, but we're gonna try. This model wasn't built for much, but we're gonna try. If we're lucky, it'll even function whilst we're in here, like so we can change the code whilst it's still running. Oh hey Vetch, how you doing? So, oscillating crab. I don't see oscillating crab. Interesting. Which would suggest that we're just never partying. Is partying, get that, yes. Should initialize is true. It's not crashing, which is nice. have I maybe just set it to too low a value so we can't actually see it? There's a fault. Actually, I think this might be working. Hang on. Let's just have a closer look. Okay. You see that? Now in a second, they should hopefully start to go the opposite direction. Slowing down. Okay, so they are shaking their thing. They're just doing it very slowly. Okay. Alright, if I get rid of that entirely, are they going to start oscillating rapidly? No. Okay, we do need to reboot. That's fine. Can I have you on as I do some artwork stuff? Oh, that's good to know. Looks dang cool. That is fine. A lot of people actually put me on as background noise, and I don't mind that. In fact, part of my advertising for these streams is that I do them for, like, chill. There's something, like, enjoyable about just having chill music while somebody verbally explains their problem-solving process. There's something nice about that. Crab slow dance. Yeah, crab rave at 0.01% speed. Someone hit them with a high level and a highly powerful spell of slow. Yeah, we're in a time distortion field. We're observing the crabs. There they go. We're observing the crabs through a through the lens of a black hole. Okay. The barnacles aren't doing anything, which is fine just yet. We'd have to remember to build in compatibility with the barnacles. But look at them wiggle. They all wiggle, even the big one. I always forget it doesn't auto-complete when you do that. There. Okay. Next step. I do perchance have AI, just before I, like, set myself to survival. I don't think we even have hostility just yet, but, you know, just to be on the safe side. I'm not seeing it. But just to be on the safe side, I am going to modify. So set value 1b. There. Okay. You ever have that horrifying sensation that something is moving on your leg? Well, I just had that, and the answer, the thing was moving on my leg, was in fact my headphone, headphone cord. This is almost mesmerizing, I have to say. Okay. Hey, when that happens, yeah, I'm arachnophobic, I'd hate it even more. Okay, let me just see if this is... No. Okay. Although, boy, would it have looked funny if it had actually, worked there, because then they would be wiggling at 10 times the radius! I think that is a good rate, though. So, wiggle equals float math.sign agentix. There you go. Right. So, next, we can add in their claws. I don't think we can control their rotation point just directly there, because we have these in special classes to make it easier to control them. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's the arm that we need to be concerned with. Now what we could just do is have it take the code for wiggling into itself. Also, I just kind of hop into here. So if entity can dot is partying this dot body this dot beat this dot body dot rotation point x equals float math.sign agentix. Else. There. Now the barnacles should stick to it, just happily. I could also just extend that out of model crab itself, and then I would have those for certain, but for right now, I'll just hard-code it like that. Okay. What is the default rotation point? That is the default rotation point. Okay, you do have a concept of which side you're on. So there's that. Trying to think, what's the best way to handle this? Because we want them to go left and right as well, because they're attached to the body. But they're not actually attached to the body because we had to move them around. That said, wouldn't be too hard. Wouldn't now. We could just parent the arms to the body. That's not how they're done in the rest of Minecraft, though. But is it more difficult to go for what the rest of Minecraft does, or to just do what we want to do? Okay. Private final floats default x. Equals 8f times is left, then -1 f of y is +1f. Okay. Okay, so just give ourselves that. So this dot offset equals that. And then equals default rotation x plus offset rotation x. And that means we can just set that value to 0 when we are not dancing. X offset they were to wiggle. I'm not being very consistent with my typing tonight, but it's fine. There. Okay. That should get the claws to actually be welded to the body appropriately. Next up, the leggy. Now the legs are a bit different. We do need to move their rotation points, so we probably need the same kind of code, but we need them to alter their roll, their Z angle, according to how, essentially according to the same thing as well as what side they're on, which will mean that instead of just like going like always the same way, that they will actually like essentially form a trapezoid, which will then actually look like they're in place, just going left and right. Won't be perfect, this is not kinematic, but it should hopefully look good enough. And I think it's the upper leg that everything needs to be bolted to. Yes, by the looks of it. Okay, so default rotation x equals this whole mess, which I will not begin to question. Worked in 112, it should hopefully not have broken here. And then, in here, we want to say that this dot the leg upper rotation point x equals default rotation x plus our offset again. Okay. We'll get the rotation in momentarily. We're just going to start with them actually having... We're just going to start with them staying attached to the torso. I say torso, but... Bleh. Okay, and same again down here. Just 0F. Ideally, you shouldn't be doing these things every time, but you don't necessarily know which entity is being rendered with this exact model at a given time, so it works out fine. Okay. If we boot now, what we expect to see is that the entire crab oscillates left and right, not just the carapace. And in a hot second, we will be altering their roll angle on the legs, and that should hopefully get them to be trapezoiding. Now, the crabs in the Crab Ray Notorious meme GIF do also bounce up and down. That is not something that this model was ever intended to do. Crabs stay pretty firmly level at all times. So I'm not 100% if that is remotely worth trying to implement for this one silly gag. But... Yep, there we go. Fully oscillating crabs, everybody. Ain't it glorious? Okay. Now that we've gotten that much going. Okay, so with the offset rotation X, we can then alter their roll. So let's start by saying leg upper dot rotate angle Z equals offset. We know that that's a signed value by itself. Offset rotation X times model utils dot 2 degrees. Let's see, 45 degrees. Okay, so that value is going to pass from -1 to +1. This is going to look quite strange. So bear that in mind. And I'm just going to weld that to the polarity as well. Actually, want this to be is left or not. So if it's left, then -1, if it's positive. Okay. Hey, Solar. Right. So now their legs should make it look like they're not so much oscillating, like vibrating left and right. Now that they should hopefully start to look like they're actually just like pivoting on their legs. Assuming I've gotten this even remotely correct. Which is unlikely. Look at this stream, for crying out loud. I started by saying this is usually the stream where things blow up. And literally the last thing I just saw you was levitating crabs, so... Okay, that does not look like their legs are rotating, as near as I can tell. So what do we think is going wrong here? Let's see, offset rotation up to 45. Okay, so taking that, -1 to +1, multiplying that by our value for 45 degrees. Is it moving very slowly again? No, it should be moving at the exact same rate as the body. Let's see. If this dot offset rotation x does not equal... no, actually that wouldn't work. I was about to say if it's greater or less than 0, then assume that we're not dancing. But that would mean they would flicker at the 0 point. So that's not going to work. Is the rotate... our rotate angle is actually affected down here. Okay. Right. That's why it's being overwritten. It's being written by the... It's being overwritten by the walking animation code. Okay. Right. To that end... let's plus equal it. Now we should start to see some stuff. And that's the lower leg, so that's fine. Okay. Yeah. That'll have been the problem. We were setting it, but it was then getting immediately overwritten by the code for making it look like they were walking. Have an overview of the mod. There is a page for it on Curse. You can go and check it out there. But essentially... oh yeah, there we go. That's a start. Essentially, this mod is all about adding fun, funky creatures to make your world feel a bit more alive, a bit more fleshed out, that sort of thing. And it very recently made it to 1.16. That's what we're currently working on. Okay, that is definitely a start, I think. I think 45 degrees might be a little much for them. Very jiggly, yes. They are definitely levitating at this point. But we are definitely working on it. Okay. So, is it gonna let me alter values whilst I'm in here? Let's find out. No! Okay. So, we need that side to be high and the other side to be low. So, to that end, I think we can actually just take out the polarity check here. If we do that, that should mean one of them's positive and the other one's negative. I don't know if the handling for these is going to work for that, because the upper leg's angle is used as part of the calculation for what the lower leg's angle should be. That's why that's why the two part is actually like going like that when they lift up. It's part of their animation for walking. I have 3 minutes here to complete Crab Rave. What a world. Or at least to complete Crab Rave animation. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's a bit better. They dance. They're definitely dancing now. It's a bit more hopping from one foot to the other, but that does look pretty nice, I think. And a bit more reserved than the 45 degree was. So yeah, that's good. Right. So, next thing, I think, is we probably want to get the arms waving a little bit. Let's see what we can do about that. Now we need the claws dancing from left and right and from right to left. Exactly. Yeah. Look at them, they're having such a good time. Okay, so back to the claw. So, we want to factor in the offset position, which is part of our dancing, to the rotation angle of the arms. Now, once again, I think we can mostly just use whether or not... I think we can mostly just use it as, like, a standard go and go. In which case, let's start by just having this be the offset rotation X. Because I think them going in the same direction should be fine. If we set this to be a negative, then they should rotate in one direction whilst they're going in that way and then that way. So functioning like a pivot. I think that's what we want. We kind of wanted them to be going hey-oh, hey-oh, that kind of thing. Alternatively, we can just multiply it by polarity again and then just get them going like that, which might work better. Making Crab Rave in Minecraft, such a great idea. This clearly came out of the fact that the Crab renderer, for like most of the past week, has been crashing the entire system. And a bunch of devs, including me, including like the head of Mechanism and everything, looked over the code, couldn't find the answer, and it turned out to be a texture bug. So we figured, right, I figured after that, right, we need something relaxing. And we'll see how much progress we're making on that in about 10 minutes when I come back from my break. So go grab yourselves a drink, grab yourselves a snack, that kind of thing. And we'll see you shortly. welcome back, everybody. How are you doing? Pixel, are you okay? You seem to be having a rough evening. Okay, right. So, just before we left off there, we added some code that hopefully makes our crabs wave their arms a little bit when they're dancing, so let's see if we have accomplished that successfully. Okay, we might want to slow it down, but this is pretty amazing. This is wow. They're just so happy. we probably want to like reduce how much they're shaking, but this does look gorgeous and I love it. Oh, I'm glad that my model that I made for like 1.12.2 actually does this sufficiently. Okay. Let's just halve that. They party so hard, yeah. We went from slow spell to speed spell. Well, it is a rave. Some degree of speed is to be expected. I've never been to a rave in my life. Anyway. Now that we've got the animation for dancing down, I think that should be that should be a perfectly beautiful dancing animation for them. Definitely wasn't late to stream because of Blaze Bowl. Yeah, there we go. Do we think that that's good? I think that's good. I don't see... there's maybe a little bit I could do better, but I think for a niche meme-based gag that this is fine. Another thing we could do is have them like alter which direction that they're bouncing, because they are ostensibly all bouncing in the exact same direction. Spin? No, I don't think we want to make them spin. This looks good enough, I think. Also, to make them spin, I would have to change their, like, their yaw angle on everything. Will there be a pet function you have a mighty need? Like... I feel like there isn't one from, like, Minecraft Vanilla Wolves. There probably shouldn't be one for my stuff. But if Minecraft ever does that... then sure. Okay. So, let's just set this to false by default. And then we need to create a new AI code. Yay, my favorite thing. So let's see. Add this onto passive, I guess. So entity AI crab rave. Of course. So we need a private final abstract crab. Okay, and we need to have some values here. So, set mutex flags enum set dot of let's see, flag dot move flag. Actually, this really doesn't need anything because it is just entirely just set. It's just setting a value. So, let's see. Can we check the power density for this? Yes, we can. Grand. We need to just quickly check where it looks for a jukebox. Jukebox position within distance Okay, so if it's close enough to the jukebox, it does all that. Okay. Next question, where is jukebox position set? Because I guess it just sets partying from there. Okay, where does that get set? From the world renderer. Oh goody. Okay. Called when a record starts or stops playing, used to make parrots start or stop. Really? Really? Huh. Okay. Is there an event that we can use? I think there is a sound event. Just heard what I said. Event.sound. Okay, that's more like what I'm looking for here. Sound source event. Sound location, get name, get source. Looking for a position, ideally. Play sound event. Okay, that's probably a bit more like it. Oh, hang on. Play sound command might have an answer for us here. I mean, the hard part, the theoretical third option is we just like check for a nearby thing that's already doing it, but okay, fine, right. I'm presuming that jukeboxes have a tile entity. Yes, they do. Okay, right. So for tile entity,
I am about to go to a doctor's appointment, but I must continue to sprinkle cash onto you to encourage the Minecraft. I can't watch, so I'll see you in the VOD.
No, thank you for that, Warden. Okay, tile entity jukebox in the crab get world dot. Can I get tile entities? I don't. Yeah, I don't think it'll let me do that. Okay, this is gonna get much heavier. But that's fine. Because it just needs to... Well, we obviously need to check one thing. If the crab get attack targets does not equal null, return false. There. And just to be clear as well, the crab.set partying a false. Okay. So we need a means of finding the nearest, we need a means of finding the nearest jukebox that is playing something. I don't believe that there is a value in the jukebox tile to say that it's playing, but here we go, I guess. We can do something a bit more concrete later. So let's see, block plus nearest jukebox. Minute. Okay. Actually, talenty would probably do better. That'd be jukebox talenty, I guess, because they did the whole name switch around. Okay. What is the range for parrots? It is 3 blocks. You would not think that it was that far. Or that narrow a position, but that actually makes things quite easy. So 4 int x equals negative r, I guess. Int r equals 3. Just so we can reference that a bit easier. X is less than r. X plus plus. Okay. And then we do that again for Z and Y. Okay, that gives us a nice 3-dimensional shuffle around. If we are probably going to want the world here, we're going to be using the world a lot. if the block at that position is a jukebox, then we need the tile entity. Okay, if tile dot, let's see, we can get the record, which is a start. Can we access the jukebox at all? No, it's never part of the thing. Okay. Oh. Does the jukebox block have a value? Has record only. Okay, fine. So if that and
chord progressions,
jukebox block the world dot get block state position dot get block.
snatch them all up.
Just gonna quickly ask that if it has a record, and for the time being, I think I can do this easier.
And that's one of the reasons why I can
My brain's going dead on how to do this. Hang on.
I don't have a problem with reusing or borrowing something that I heard.
What I'm trying to do is get that part.
And I used to, because I thought it was not original, not creative.
Block state dot get. There we go.
I quickly found out that I am not original or creative. I can't make up a new thing.
Okay. The music is talking. I noticed. For being on instrumental only, that's annoying. Some people don't tag their stuff, I guess. Okay, give ourselves a distance calculation. So if, well, now we need to get the actual range, don't we? So let's get our starting position locked in here as well. Call it origin, the crab. Origin of the crab, there we are. The story of why things tend towards carcinization. So if, origin distance to that position is less than currently dist, there, and then we just return nearest. Okay, so there's that. Return nearest jukebox does not equal null. Very straightforwards. So when we detect that there is a jukebox nearby with a record, start partying. If we have an attack target, stop partying. Although we can probably build that in here somewhere. Let's see, public void update AI tasks. If is partying and get attack target does not equal null, then set partying levels. There, that's one less thing that this has to do. So no attack target, meaning we're not currently engaged in combat. And there is a nearby dirt box with a record in it. Okay. I think the only way that I could make this work with the same way that parrots do exactly is to actually extend from entity parrot, which would be weird for a variety of reasons, so we're not doing that right now. There probably is a better way to handle this, but for right now, that's what we're going with. Should we up the range? Because currently it's 3 blocks. But if you really want to get like the whole beach dancing, I feel like we need to go higher. But the higher we go, the more blocks we have to check because we're looking for tile entities currently. And it's not just a matter of going through... It's not just a matter of going through everything and seeing where the nearest things are. We actually have to go through every block at the moment. Creative. Hey, Nope. How you doing? Pokemon. Ugh. Look, you can't make jokes about me yeah, you can't make jokes at me about that. You didn't spot that error either. Okay, let's play some Pickstep. Just gonna mute the music for the moment. And currently, nobody is dancing. Okay, why is nobody dancing? Because I'm an idiot and I didn't give them the AI task we just coded, that's why. Okay. What was the issue? The issue was that nobody noticed that the mod prefix was added to the crab texture, like, string twice. That's what happens. Okay, where's my crabs? Okay, where's scorpions? I think scorpions are the trick. There you are. Register goals. That's what we're looking for. What was eating that bug? Heck if I know. Apparently a completable future, which is to say things trying to register things. Okay. Now they should actually set their partying. That should have triggered some sort of texture not found exception rather than I won't bother adding any of the renderers. It should have! Apparently, when it sees two semicolons in the texture, it just doesn't. But you're right, it should. Just doesn't. And that made me lose like 4 days. Is there a bug filed? Yes, it's been filed. It's utterly bizarre. But, oh well. It should have just given us the error saying texture error or something, or it should have just been like texture not found. Instead, it crashes everything. Very weird. If I choose the master of Minecraft modding rendering, would you say that you're about the same for entities? A true master realizes that he is in fact a fool, so I can't call myself a master. Because clearly I'm a genius and perfect. But anyways, yeah, I would say I'm better at AI than I am, like, entities in general. But, you know, I've been doing entities for a very long time. There we go. Okay. Let's get some noise going here. Obviously they don't stop. There is a fort. They don't currently stop if they can't find one that's playing. Okay, so that's probably the next thing that I need to actually address. But they're dancing. That's a start. Okay, so in Entity AI Crab Rave, what we can also do is, let's see, the crab.set partying, nearest jukebox does not equal no. Oop, juked box, there we go. In fact, we could theoretically just put it right here and save was. Isn't that actually a book file? Really? Yeah, this one's friend dropped one. Anyways. There. Okay. You could also theoretically just actually log a block position in the crab, which is also what the parrots do anyways. So that's probably worth doing. So let's see... Call this our continue partying or not kind of check. Oh, that gets a tile, doesn't it? Okay. Well, to that effect, we don't need the tile, really, do we? Just need a block position. Everyone here has experience in modding or singer. You'd be surprised, actually. Like, maybe 3 people here, including me, have experience with modding. Most people here are just, chilling out and listening to me figure out problems. That's all. So if we have an attack target or get empty world dot get block states this dot jukebox position dot get block. It's all I was including you in those 3. So if that block's not a jukebox, or we don't have a record. Boy, that's a lot of conditions right there, isn't it? It's like 4 of them, but, you know, all on the line. There. Okay, so if we have an attack target, if we don't have a if we don't know where the jukebox has gone, if it's not a jukebox anymore, or if it doesn't have a record, stop dancing. Okay. This does mean that, like, they're gonna party forever as long as there's a record in there, but as I say, we can nail it down a bit tighter with how long the song is and whatnot later. So there's a question, does record item... I presume there's like an item for it. A jukebox record item is its own thing, apparently. Nope, that's a fix. God, I wish I could view some of this. I must have hacked up my install when I was trying to fix the crab problem. Lying makes a rave mistake and the crabs get too powerful. Isn't there a sound event that might help? There is, but it'll be a nightmare just digging through them. So for the time being, we just checking this, which is fine. This works fine. Okay, I think that's good to go. I think that's good to go. Okay, let's go. I should only party as long as the record is playing music, and it's acceptable to leave them partying for a few seconds after it's done. Yeah, like a random countdown, as it were. But for right now, we get this. I can make them tie more specifically to the music that's being played and whatnot, but for the moment, it's fine. They'll stop when we take the record out, at the very least. Could check to see how Quark does it. Does Quark do it? I don't recall. But probably. Oh, flying. Oh, is she here? Okay. Get ready to dance! We all love ASCII here, right? No comment. Pretty nice, pretty nice. And if we take this out, they stop. Party's over, everybody. Sorry to spoil your fun. Hooray! Okay, nice. Grand and good. Haha. It's gonna be really weird for people who are only just listening to the audio of this. Just like randomly pig step starts. Yeah, we can probably honestly fit this into the main entity code rather than just having it here, but it's fine. Okay. Let me just have a quick poke. I don't know if Quark's I don't know if Quark's source is even listed. Let's find out. Mine certainly wasn't until a few days ago. No, but if you happen to like know what part of Quark does this, then kindly do let me know. Because I don't, because I'm not that familiar with Quark. Let's see. Logically, I can just look for sound event in the repository, but let's find out. Quark sounds, note block mob sounds, Wraith entity, metal button block. Also, no, noob, you can't because the cow will sit on you. There you go. Ah, the rave goal, of course. Why didn't I see that coming? Let's see. Based on whether the crab entity is raving. Okay. Could have clicked the original? No, I couldn't. Because Moobot is not me. Just told your sister or crab party. Go bird. That's good to know. Okay. Content mobs entity. Let's see if we can dig this up ourselves, shall we? Content. Entity. Crab entity. Okay. Nothing there telling us if they're dancing. No, Moobot is a very tidy cow. Let's see. Rave. Get entities within that. Okay, that's basically just partying. Right? What calls that? That's the next question. Ah, There we are. It injects events. Right. Injection is not a thing I'm terribly fond of as a rule. So... yeah, but, you know, we can do it. Let's just find... let me just have a quick look. See where every call to rave is in here. There's the model... okay, I gotta share this part, because you guys are gonna get a big kick out of this. Crab Rave BPM. There's a BPM value here. Doesn't appear to be a method call, though, so I'm guessing Crab Rave BPM is just, like, a value. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, it's just it's a flat value. But, boy, would it be entertaining if they danced at different speeds to different songs. But okay, I only see an actual call of that function inside of here. So... beats per minute, exactly. Yeah, musical term. Sorry, not everybody grew up in my family. I forget that sometimes. My family is quite strange. I'm just gonna call this crab it dance because Lord knows I don't. There's only so many times that you can type rave. That's actually a mix-in? Oh. Is there anything about a mix-in that I do not know? Besides all of it. Ah, yes, I see. Okay. It's a little bit like a event handler, but not quite. This is brand new stuff for me, everybody, so I apologize if I get this horrifically wrong. Let's say I don't tend to touch injections because I hate needles. That's not the reason for why this, but yeah. Okay. Check calls to server world mixin and see if that gets registered anywhere. In resources, apparently. Okay, source main resources. Going to need a thing. Oh boy. Hang on, where did I put that? If the source is open, I can just fork and update URL. You could, but it's not connected to this workspace. Because if it was, I'd break it most of the time. Lord. So let's see what server mix in. I think that's fine. I'm not sure. It's most of what's there, at least. Okay. So now let's add some actual code, at least while we're here. So we need the world, and we need to get a radius around the position. Now, point of note, my crabs are allowed to move whilst they're dancing. It's because they don't have a sit option. But that's fine by me. They'll look a little odd. Their walking animation isn't stopped whilst they're doing this rave, so it'll just look a little odd, but they will be walking nonetheless. So let's see, player, get world, get entities within abstract class, abstract crab dot class. And then we need new axis aligned bb position dot grow 3D. Grand. Crab dot set partying. There we go. Can I use this code? What, this code? I mean, I just ripped it from Quark, essentially, but sure, I guess. It's not complicated code, and I don't think it's sufficiently, like, innovative for me to say, hey, nobody else can use it. There, just add in a little bit more qualification there. Okay, and then we go back to here. We can probably just take... Where are you? There you are. We'll just take that out entirely. Can't join the stream, but they say hi. Oh, well, hi, friend.
A new challenger approaches.
Hello there. Okay. I have not the foggiest if this is going to get cold, because I've never done injection before. Ever. It's not something you typically tend to need, but I evidently needed a bit more anyway. Just gonna stick a printer in here just to make sure anything happens. Initiating crustacean dance event. Let's see what happens. That is above the part that I think ties to an actual jukebox going off, so this is going to get interesting. Nothing will happen? Okay, what have I missed? Run configurations to... Oh, okay. Varro's or no, I called it. It's Varrod. Various oddities. Yep, and I have a ping somewhere. What's going on? You need the exact file name? I'm not sure what you mean. But the source code is up on Git. You can check that. Well, not this piece of source code, but... It's also right there on the left-hand side, but, you know. Let's see, you need to adjust my Gradle file to include the right mixin plugin, my Gradle file to include the right repositories, run configurations to manually specify the mixin's file location, my Java manifest to point the correct mixin file, the generated These are a lot of words I've never had to hear. So, fun fact. If y'all are sitting at home wondering, Lying, why are you so good at doing all of this stuff? I am pretty much entirely self-taught. I do have a bachelor's degree in computing, but that bachelor's degree in computing taught me heck all overall. Because what I actually learned was how to use Lisp, which is a programming language that is exclusively used for education nowadays, because no one in their right mind would use it actually in, like, would use it actually inside of, like, any kind of program these days. And I was taught exceedingly simple AI code, as in a state-based system, so not a little below the AI of the Fear franchise. And then I was taught some extremely basic graphics programming, which nearly killed my entire career, because I cannot program graphics for the life of me for whatever reason. And then I was just sort of shoved out into the world. That was about it. My degree, therefore, is garbage. Would not be the least bit useful in an actual game development kind of scenario, which is the only thing I was educated for at all, and is named so incredibly vaguely that it is most often mistaken for a computer science degree. So, yeah, most of my knowledge here is completely self-taught, and there's some huge pieces that I am missing, like regex, for instance, or bit shifting, for instance, or starting a program. I don't know how to start a program, I just know how to work inside of an existing one. It's not something I was ever taught. That is Lang's education history for you. May need to slightly debug the grade of file inferior, but I guess we'll find out. Okay. And I'm guessing this is the build Gradle part. Yes, it is. Okay, very good. Okay, dependencies. If flying was here, I'm sure she'd be screaming right about now. You feel much better about your programming knowledge all of a sudden? I mean, sure. If there's one thing that my education is good for, it's making other people feel better about theirs. Gonna be a pain to— okay, right. Well, if you break something... No instant errors. Okay. You're self-taught in Java and Kotlin, and you just make mods. That's it. That's more or less me as well. I've been doing Minecraft modding more or less as long as I was in education. So, like, oh god, I don't even know what version it was, but I've been more or less active in it since 2019-ish? Somewhere in that vicinity. Where's my tasks? Come on. Okay, fine. Just run that then. Yes, noob, that's what I'm looking for. There you are. You only learned 1.7 modding. Oh boy. I know that one of the first things I started modding was just like I broke into like the snowman code and just made them rapid fire arrows just as like to see like what I could do. The first actual mod project I think I started with. I implemented name tags before Mojang did. I know that much. But I can't remember if that was before or after I started on Yoke Dwarves. And heck if I remember what version Yoke Dwarves was. 2011, not 2019? Was that then? Oof. No, wait. I'm sorry, I missed a decade. 2009. 2009 is when I started university. Somewhere around 2012, 2011, my computing degree. So that would have been around about the time that I was working on modding at the time. That's how long I've been at this, I guess. Also, we're just waiting for this to complete. That's why I'm not doing much right now. Delve a little into jar modding? That's all that Yolk Dwarves was back in the day. Because I despised Forge for having a monopoly. And now, unfortunately, it's Forge or a really nasty environment. Ostensibly. I've heard some bad things, but nothing heavily concrete about Fabric. I'm happy for Forge to have competition, though. That's something nice. Okay. Executed just fine. Let's see if Noob has managed to destroy my entire system. In a way that I don't know how to fix. Hey, it's the best girl. It's Sunny. You were fine with Forge's monopoly since they provide a service that's good enough to justify. I don't know that there's necessarily always. I don't think that's necessarily sufficient to me. Like I don't trust I don't trust a sufficiently large group of humans to be decent people. Okay. I'm just gonna turn down my music. Oh, I figured there was another separate thing. Just so that... Heckle starts. Okay. Interesting. That mixing does not appear to be applied. Fortune stands for a significant source point, and that one is one of toxicity. I don't blame you, noob, but yeah. Okay. We appear to have not applied this mixing correctly, because nothing's happening. Next question. Why? Trying to think what's a decent way here. I mean, I've met some of the Forge devs at conventions and such once or twice. I doubt they know who I am. I doubt anybody does, but still. Okay. Yes, we could. What was that music? Oh, yeah, that was from me, and that was Pig Step. The most recent addition to the discs. One of your tabs committed music and you're confused. I mean, if it doesn't sound like this music, then it was probably Pig Step. Because that's what we are currently using to initiate our crustacean dance event. Anyways, let's Control-Shift-B, that gets us our break. And let's call it there as well. Okay. Let's see what we get. Just realized I need to run that as debug. You gotta really be sure what you're doing when you post an issue and want to put Lex's mods. Oy. And you also gotta be really clear when you're actually just posting in the Forge thing, if he's gonna poke his head in. Hilariously similar how the whole Linux kernel mailing list is or was with Linux Torvalds compared to Linux and Forge. I don't know enough about it to make a comment. Nor do I particularly necessarily want to make a public statement on other on other modders right now. Okay, well we haven't hit a breakpoint at all. Pixtep makes you 4 times alerts previously because of one specific video. Oh, really? Oh. I forgot to remove the breakpoints from when we were trying to debug the rendering. There we go. I was like, why are we back at should render? Oh god, what's happened? I didn't even touch textures. Okay, and we are definitely in. Hmm. That sounds about as loud as it was before. Interesting. Yeah, that's not getting cold at all. Okay. I'll be back in like 10 minutes. Last break of the evening. Noob, if you wanna drop just like into my DMs as it were with some debugging, then by all means. But everyone else, I'll see you in 10 minutes. welcome back, everybody, to the final hour of our evening. So, near as we can tell, the mixin config isn't getting looted, so for the time being, at the very least, we are keeping our little bit of AI code there to just check for a nearby jukebox that has a record in it. Whether or not that song is still playing, who knows? And there's a couple more things that I would like to add to our crabs. So the first, of course, is a wander code. They don't currently have one, they just sit around there forever, more or less. Especially in the case of the small ones, because the small ones are actually persistent, as opposed to the big ones that you can run from. Also, why did I put that in? Yeah, that should not be in the target selector. That should be in the goal selector. The target selector is for when they're picking a fight. Okay, where's our wonderful, wonderful kobolds? There's our wonderful, wonderful kobolds. So we want, looking around is not really a thing for them, but, you know, just in case, we'll include that. And we'll also include hurt by. What is your worry there? Is it because this is abstract? I don't think so. Let's see, hurt by targets should just be a mob entity, surely. Yes, okay. Oh, is it because that's a creature one as well? Yeah. It may be an eclipse thing. Can I get away by just making the other two from creature? Probably. Probably. Yep. Okay. So now they should be able to move around, they should be able to melee attack, and they will attack things that attack them. The difference being that the big ones will pick a fight, generally speaking anyways. And that's the part where we add that they just attack players. Hey, Tokyo. Okay, so... register goals... let's see, what's the rats use? Here we are. Save myself some bother. Let's check our AI settings, make sure that, let's see, VO entities, giant crab actually has its AI enabled. Otherwise, we don't actually want to be making them hostile by default. Oh, sorry, my mild misread there. You're 5 letters long and it starts with Toki, so my brain auto-completed, like the complete anime nerd it is. Okay. So our crabs should dance, and it won't be perfect, but it's the fastest I can put together in like a hot second without knowing the slightest thing about mixin. So hopefully it is sufficient for the time being. I don't know quite why my voice goes into this strange nasally impersonation of Master Wayne. Like, his name's gone completely out of my head. Wow. I don't know why my voice did that, but okay. Manga's adorable. Why, thank you. This was a gift from Strife, actually. Christmas gift, I think. It's been a while. Where did I get it? Probably Amazon, if I had to take a wild guess. Okay. So for the time being, this is what we got. I say, you'd have to ask Strife for the exact. Come on. Scooch. Scooch just close enough to start dancing, please. Actually, I think I can move you as long as you're in that state. Okay, fine. We'll do this the old way then, shall we? What is the direction there? That is negative X. Right? Of course. Oh, you don't... Of course, you don't have AI turned on. So you're not actually doing anything right now. There we go. Hey, now they're jamming. So for people just joining us, the renderer for these guys has been crashing the entire project for like 4 days straight until we finally found out what was wrong. So we decided to spend a large portion of today just making them do something a bit silly. So here we are. I do think we can increase the radius on the jukebox, but this is pretty good. And now they should theoretically stop, or at least gradually stop dancing, but bleh. There we go. Yeah, that's a good Easter egg. I like it. If they have an attack target, they will not dance. They will not start partying until they're there until they no longer have an attack target, which is significant because these guys retaliate, and these guys pick a fight and walk out of the sea at you. So, yeah. But okay, we have dancing crabs. Ain't that nice? Bleh. There are foxes with booties for the winter? Oh yeah, they're up here. Crab rave in the distance. And their assortment of accessories is also based on their UUID, so it is unique to them. Every single season they will have the exact same outfit, but the color and its combination is all them. They always have. They're also programmed to always have at least one accessory. You will not find a fox in winter that does not have something. Yeah. It's nice to have little Easter eggs like these every so often. Let's see, what else do we have? We've got that. We've got them being seasonally wintry. We've got them dancing. The kobolds lead pride parades in the month of June. I keep thinking goblins should hold some kind of union strike, but I don't know if there's like a particular like time of year for union strikes. Oh yeah, the kobolds, if we stand here long enough. Yeah, the kobolds actually are, the sounds kobolds make are based on puppies, like grumbly puppies. Someday I'll have to explain this, or moreover, someday this will be included as a clip on somebody's channel. It's gonna be, not sure exactly how to explain this one, but here we are. Yes, aren't they a happy bunch? There you go, little buddy. So yes, you can make the crabs dance. This will not stop them from hecking you up in the case of giant crabs, but you can make him do that. I almost feel like I should... there was a suggestion that we also add, like, an achievement for when this happens. But, I don't know. What would that achievement be called? Like, just Crab Rave? Or would it be called, like, Everybody Dance Now? Or Dance Off? Or, Can't Touch This? I feel like it should be called... It would be an achievement called Can't Touch This if it's, prevented them from attacking things. Party after possible mod ending error was found and sorted. Yes, exactly. Yo crabs, your renderer works again. Also, in theory, you can just, like, hide the jukebox directly underground. I think, going to increase the radius, which is not good in the way that we currently search for it, because currently we have to check every block within a radius around every single crab, and that's checking pretty much every time that this AI task gets updated, and that's not good. But for right now, it's what we got. Later on, when we're actually, like, doing this with the mix-in, won't be an issue, because we'll just be checking the area anyways around them for specifically crabs. I'm just gonna double that to 6, so we're in 6 blocks. There, we can have much more expensive crab raves that way. Okay. And music back. Thank you. Okay. For the moment, I'm gonna put a tick next to that, just to say not 100% done. I'm gonna say Crab Rave, done. They've got the bulk of their AI in now, so they will wander, they will retaliate, they will look around, although that's mostly just a matter of them rotating in place. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so we'll tick that. We'll remove that. We don't have scuttling, and we don't have large claws, because what they should do when they're... If there's like a 50-50 chance or something like that of a crab being a scuttling type, which means that when they are moving in a direction, they will be rotated 90 degrees so that they're walking sideways. Not all crabs do this. It's actually like a myth that all crabs do this. But it's something that is sufficiently well known that I feel it's like worth having. Another thing that we need is there is one claw larger than the other, which is mostly just a growth factor thing for crabs, but it just essentially means that one claw is bigger than the other, and that I think is mostly done by the model. It's just a matter of figuring out exactly how we apply that in the renderer, I think. Because it used to be we just call GL scale, now we can't necessarily do that. So let's find out. Let's see, we can pop and we can push, and there is a scale value there. Okay, so let's see, matrix stack in dot push and matrix stack in dot pop. Okay. Go for 2F. This is going to be grossly exaggerated if what we're about to do works. But let's find out. Let's see if we can't get that working. So once we can get it working at all, we'll hook it to the actual values inside of abstract crab. And basically just a lot of the oddities, which is the name of the creatures in this mod, are built to be visually diverse and interesting. So if you have a vast crowd of them, they don't just become like a visual sea of noise. There should be some distinction between them. It's like, if you encounter two separate kobolds, there's... Oh boy, let's see, there's the color, there's how, there's the length of their snout, there's whether they have horns, and those three factors allow you to identify pretty much every kobold apart from one another. So you can use that. Similar with goblins. Goblins come in different colors, they have different facial shapes, they have different ears, that sort of thing. It's nice having some visual distinction between different mobs, I feel. Okay, so we're looking for the... We're looking for one claw being twice the size of the other. If this works at all, it should be obvious. And it certainly is obvious. Okay. That's fine. Let me dig out the code from 112. Let's see, model crab. Should be about it. We should be able to get this part working relatively quick. There you are. Okay. So the actual function I used was 1.2. That's almost half what we got there. So, if... where are you? Where is crab? Don't have a crab. Okay. If we don't have a crab, then we need to feed in the values to an actual storage in here. I'm not being blind. There is no crab in this listing. Yes, good. The crab is a lie. God, I hope not. We've been working on it all night. Okay. So, if this dot big left, then perform that. If this dot big right, big scale there you are. Okay. Is big scale already being populated, or is it just... Yeah, it's just default false. Okay, so none of ours should have that function currently. As if Destin, you slept for most of it. Pity that, Dusty. You missed all of the crab raving. Oh. Tragic. And now it shall never be seen again. Oh well. What a tragedy indeed. Oh well. What we're gonna do, I guess. Oh, you saw a clip Wiver posted. Okay. Reminder: this mod is inside of the Unlikely Reunion mod pack, so theoretically this will end up happening in Come Block Home at some point. Okay, that looks good. Just need to read it back out. Okay. Crab lying. I mean, it's an infinite multiverse, the lying verse, so theoretically there is inevitably going to be a crab lying, as all things tend towards carcinization. Imagining a pen of crabs with a button that says press to party. Should I almost feel like I need to add a confetti particle for that context. Okay, guys, could you hold still for me while I figure out what's going on here? Okay, you. Modify... Oh, this is going to need to be merged because it's nested. Entity, that one. Display. Big left, 1B. Okay. It's a little wonky, but I think it works. You can certainly plainly tell one of them is bigger than the other, that's for sure. And I feel like a bigger one should hang lower anyways. There's a sentence that will be taken out of context. Okay, let's give you a mean right hook. Point of note, size of their claws does not in any way affect their damage. Just in case you were worried. There you go. Yeah, I think that's good. Imagine the fear of being a mob that lying is coding and looks at you and goes, "You." I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Do I need to put Varrod crabs? No, because that does that. Well. Into the void of E. Just now we should see that variation happening naturally. Yeah. Very nice. Oh, this fellow is particularly gifted. It's got 2 big claws. Nice. And that also applies to the biggins as well. So, yep, that's a mean left hook right there. Sir. There you are. Christ. Yep. Would not want to get in the way of that. Whew. Okay. Let's... Right. So that's another part of our to-do list done. Which is the large claws. Yay. There's... I feel like they should be wandering around more right now. Did we not give them a wander? Apparently not. Water avoid random walking. Move towards restriction. Okay, no we did not. Drowned. Can we access that? Not very well, but we can. Just looking for their goals. Annoyingly, I can't search this. Huh? You want a plushie dog? I don't think that Sunny is capable of doing that, I'm afraid. Her limbs aren't really long enough for that. But a dab is basically a massive joke at the dab, in which you hit yourself in the face with the backs of both hands. Like that. Like a horror video game protagonist expressing sheer terror a little too enthusiastically. Okay, well if you don't have it, then logically you must... Let's see, extends from zombie entity. I just closed the wrong thing. Okay. What second? I've misplaced my chat. They could be saying anything about me. There we go. That was audible. Good to know. Okay. Please tell me I can view this. Yay, hurrah. Water... Oh, they have a water avoid walking. Okay, fine. I guess we just give that. Quick, call him cute. Who? The person reading this. Which is both a meme reference and accurate to the situation. Okay, our crabs should wander now. Booked works too. True indeed. Yeah, I can't claim credit for the daub that was created by, I think, Adam Savadan? Either that or Jordan. I don't know. One of the two. But, yeah. Right, the crabs should wander now. Oh, yep, they totally do. Look at them go. Nice, nice. So the next thing... the animation of their legs isn't perfect, I will say that right now, but... It's sufficient enough to get the idea across. Okay. Last thing, can we do it in 20 minutes? Which is rotate the entire model 90 degrees for when they're a scuttling type. I'm presuming so, but let's find out. I should really be using booleans more often than I am. Like, I'd use bytes. I can use bytes for much more stuff than just a boolean, but... force of habit. You've got time off and don't need to go to work? Ooh, grats. I haven't had time off from work in... Never mind. Yeah.
First.
Not quite, but okay. Also, weird that that's a different accent than the donation was. I don't think there was any particular waiting. First this month? Oh, fair. Okay. Ah, yes. Last thing. So, that puts the value in. Now, we need to actually do something with it. So, if I refer back to the code here, should scuttle was its own function in abstract crab. Because I am basically just redoing stuff here. There we go. Okay. It was more than just that boolean. Relied on motion rather than an actual thing for this. Huh? What about hats? Oh, you're looking at your witch hat. Okay. Okay, we need to get a vec 3D, which is our motion, because now it's all stored in one vector. If that's right, I'm wrong. Get motion, there you are. Only checks for horizontal. When did I stop wearing hats? don't think it was an intentional thing. I'm not 100% certain. Oh, of course, yeah, they changed that. I still have all of the hats. They're still around. They do get worn. I think it was mostly when I started getting my hair done and stuff. Fun fact, you stop covering stuff up when you actually like what it looks like. Okay. So. Matrix stack into push. Matrix stack into pop. And if oh, we don't have a value in here because we don't have the entity anymore. Okay. Private Boolean scuttle. Which, I just realized all the code we've been referencing is right here. Oh, and there is some translating as well. I did not include that in here. That's why their hands are so low. Okay, let's remember that. Okay, so to that end, what is it? Just 90 degrees. So if that, then our matrix stack rotate Quaternion. Oh, lovely. Jeebus, it's been an age since I heard about Quaternions. Ay. Okay. Okay. Is there an example I can get of you doing that? Okay, apparently. I don't know why this is the Marimo renderer. Hell if I remember using this. Rotation, degrees... YP, your pitch? Guess... I don't know what the N and the P significance is here. But I'm guessing that's the one I want. Either way, we'll find out. Can the crab rave of one starts, which leads others to come and join in? That is a much more complex AI task. That would be closer to how Cobalt Pride parades are done. To the extent that probably not. Okay, so where are you? So for the left one, we do that. I'm guessing translate's fine. Yes, good. Grand. And for the right one, that. It is very slightly different. It's purely on the x-axis. But that should fix up their claws a little bit. Their pincers. And, assuming that I've done this right, this should mean that they actually, properly head out in the right way. Okay, let's give them a test. They have their wonder, so we'll see them walking around. So they should be able to do this. Yeah, it's not impossible to have a... How do I put this? A transmissible rave, but nah, it's just depending upon proximity to a thing.
To study our perception of self. That wave isn't necessarily a thing you achieve.
So hopefully by next week we'll have the mix in done. Yeah. Okay, none of these craps have the slightest concept of what scuttling is, so...
Ideas aren't static, but fluid, like water.
You're doing the thing again. Pretzel. Okay. Whoop. Hey, I think I see a scuttler. I think both of the red ones scuttle, actually. Nice! Grand. Okay, so scuttling is good. Yeah, looks like the translation has fixed the altitude of their claws. Good. So they're hanging out about the same height. Very good. Okay, I think that's Crab's nigh feature complete. So scuttling done. Hooray! So additions, crabs and giant crabs have been reintroduced with a bonus musical talent. There we go. Okay. Warg is the warg is like the next thing. Well, the warg I think is the next thing in terms of entities to add. But I do need to get the faction command done, and that will allow us to actually manipulate the system a bit better. But for now, I can close pretty much all of this. Hooray. Also, hey, look at me! It's only taken me like a decade, but I'm actually taking documentation. Okay, so yeah, I still need to fix that, which is, it's a low priority because you basically only ever see that if you're in creative mode anyways. I do need to get that working because it makes things much easier to work with in the factions, in the settlement system. Let's see, command faction, there we go. So yeah, we need management, we need reputation. This is relatively straightforward, I just need to actually make sure it defines a player as an input. And then it needs player, string, and then value, I think. So basically just that, over and over. Which is fairly straightforward for all of these. Manage, let's see, what variables do we need to want to add on that? I guess that would be... Let's create a variant down here, shall we? Just gonna hammer this out real quick. Theory I could just set these into two big classes, but for right now it's fine. Okay. Just gonna add these as literals. So we want to create. We want to remove. Or delete, remove, what do we want? I guess delete makes sense. Destroy. Disband. I don't know. Remove is potentially confusing with this. Is why I'm thinking of synonyms. Okay. And then we also want association, relation, which is how they are in between. Yeah, I didn't stop wearing hats intentionally. I just started to look like how I looked at them in their even in their absence. They are over there, and you know they're just nice. They just tend to cover up my hair, and I like my hair quite a bit. Plus, I already have ears now, so yeah. Right, we just add some notes in here. So, add new faction. Inputs, name, starting rep. Remove existing faction, inputs, name. And add new faction. Oh, add our set, I guess. Inputs, name 1, name 2, rep. Okay, again, I guess strictly speaking, relation can handle it both. Maybe a getter is there as well. Like info, like what is their current relation, that kind of thing. I guess a list is also something. Okay, and I can also link that. I can link the list down for the info as well, so it embeds a command to actually show you the info of what you click on, so you can see the starting rep setting on them as well as any relations that they have. Grand. Okay. Obviously, it doesn't do any of that. This command isn't even registered right now, but that's gonna be my week, I guess. Okay. So, next week we should be fully able to control the faction system and the reputation system. I'm hoping to have worked out at that point how to get trading to affect faction reputation as well. Don't count on that, but we'll see. Because there's two different functions, well, two different events that are fired for generating villager and wandering trader trades, but there is nothing for when you actually make a trade. So like there's nothing for like when you actually buy something from a librarian or something, which is a bit of a pain, but oh well. So I'm gonna have to engineer something instead. Consider if when parrots and crabs start dancing near each other, they went into West Side Story formations. They just like make parallel lines to each other, and the crabs just start making a clicking noise. Oh, that would be entertaining, but... do parrots only jive when they're sitting? Like when they're stationary? I can't recall. Crabs are still able to move around when they're partying. Which I don't plan on changing, because that's fine by me. But okay. Oh, I should also probably make them actually like stop dancing when they're too far away from the target position, but yeah, it's fine. Okay, but yeah, that's what I got laid out ahead of me for the time being, and next week we should hopefully be starting to work on the wargs and the wargs. If you are not familiar with the 1.12.2 versions of various oddities, the wargs are basically wolves raised by goblins, and if you breed two wargs together, you can occasionally get a warg, who are huge doggos that you can ride. They're also pretty mean, and there's a very heavy emphasis on wargs and wargs being from a broken home, because goblins are not, they don't take good care of their pets. Though I might make that a genetic thing. Like if a goblin is raised in a suitably non-classical goblin social norms environment, that they don't do that. But that's all I got for tonight. My next stream will be on Thursday with some Among Us. Then on Saturday we have the Carousel. We play some random games and talk about what's been going on this week. And we'll be back for more of this on Tuesday. Meanwhile, I do make videos over youtube.com/remembercomic, and everything I do is powered by you at patreon.com/lying. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I shall as ever catch you all next time. You make noises, don't you? Yes, you do.